Hello, and thank you for stopping by my channel. My name is Brownie. I hope these next 17 minutes will keep you entertained, help you unwind, or teach you something new. On My Movie Star Boyfriend, we analyze what kind of partner the leading men in some of the most memorable films would be in real life. To do this, I'm going to break down everything they do, say, and show us throughout the film, and assign a flag to each defining moment. A green flag for positive traits that would make a good partner, a yellow flag for unfavorable traits that would make a partner less appealing, a red flag for negative traits that would make a bad partner, and a red parade for harmful traits that would make a dangerous partner. At the end, we'll place him in a tier, anywhere from husband material to literally evil. In this episode, we're taking a look at Luke from Purple Hearts. Remember, everything I say in this video,
that's my opinion!
Purple Hearts came out on Netflix on July 29th, 2022. It features Sophia Carson as Cassie Salazar and Nicholas Galitzine as Luke Morrow. It's a contemporary SoCal enemies to lovers set against a military backdrop. It became infamous across social media because of how problematic people felt that it was. Full disclosure, I'm not American.
Thank God.
So there's a bit of a cultural gap between me and this movie, but I'm going to address the political commentary of the movie while still keeping the analysis focused on Luke's character and his relationship with Cassie. The movie starts with Luke training alongside his fellow Marines at base camp in Oceanside, followed by a mediocre performance of Sweet Caroline by Cassie and her band at the dive bar she works at. Luke and his platoon walk in, and one of them starts making derogatory comments.
So we're good enough to fight for your ass, but not good enough to touch it.
You're so disgusting. You're a piece of
Luke gets sent over to smooth things out, so now's a good time to assess the big three, key attributes that give us a strong baseline for who this person actually is. Physical attractiveness, employment, and wealth. Is Luke physically attractive? Most of the time. Certain scenes he'll look cute, others not so much. Then he'll look good again, then straight up crazy, so it really depends. Luke is legally employed, but as a Marine. I'm not taking a political stance on this, but being a Marine includes being deployed for months at a time and exposing yourself to physical and psychological harm, and he's also broke. The only reason this isn't a red parade is because he has a job. Because Cassie doesn't know how to be subtle, she tells Luke his buddies suck, but he's cute, and he throws that compliment right back in her face.
I've met your type before. Yeah.
Oh, do tell.
Drive a Lexus that your parents paid for, but it's a hybrid, so it's okay.
Cassie decompresses in her car and takes a shot of insulin for her type 1 diabetes. She's almost out and goes to the pharmacy to get her prescription renewed. The pharmacy assistant tells her she can't renew it for another 4 days and it's going to be over $500 out of pocket. She can't afford that, so she has to leave without getting her medication.
The presence of your face repulses me.
Luke is out for a morning run when a pickup truck almost runs him over and starts chasing him. He climbs over a fence to escape, and a scrawny-looking guy runs out of the truck. Turns out it's Luke's ex-dealer coming to collect his money.
You owe me 15 grand. So is that.
Even though Luke is clean now, relapse rates are very high, and an addicted partner is not going to be a healthy or stable one. Just because it's in the past doesn't mean it didn't happen, especially when we learn how out of control he was later. And being $15K in debt would be a red parade if Luke didn't have a job. Cassie is in an equally terrible financial position. She can't afford to pay her rent on time, and her doorknob doesn't even fit. But instead of trying to find a better job, Cassie continues to sing at the dive bar and gets so weak she nearly faints during the middle of her performance. She takes the last of her insulin when she sees a Marine Corps badge on the bathroom mirror. She goes to see her friend Frankie, but is instead greeted by Luke.
Hello, you're not Frankie.
So what happens to men in the future?
Nobody asked.
I was hoping that you might marry me.
What? Child. Anyway, so
because Marine spouses get full benefits plus a basic housing allowance, and because Cassie's a hop, skip, and a jump away from being homeless or in a casket, she figures this is her best option, instead of trying to look for a better paying job. Luke eavesdrops on their conversation and inserts himself, getting upset because their marriage would be a benefit scam and they'd be ripping off the government. Cassie and Luke start squabbling over their political differences and it goes nowhere, but more importantly, Frankie says no because he has a girlfriend. However, this gives Luke an idea. He gives his dealer a few $100, which is only a fraction of what he owes him, and
Don't make me use this. You gotta pay me.
Luke tells him about the financial benefits married Marine families get and says he'll give him his cut. This was a pretty dumb idea considering he hasn't even asked Cassie yet, but she agrees to meet up with him and Luke comes up with a stupid cover story for how they got together so fast.
But the next night, I was very charming and persistent, and I convinced you to go out with me. Marriage should be for love. Where I come from, it's for life.
Yet here you are. Cassie asks why he changed his mind and why he needs the extra money so badly. He doesn't give her a clear answer and they end up arguing again. Cassie gets Luke to calm down and he tells her the risks of getting caught, including potential jail time, of course omitting any mention of his crazy ex-dealer. They work out an agreement and promise not to tell anyone, even though that promise was already broken by Luke.
I pinky swear.
At this point, it's clear that Luke still hates Cassie, but because of bad decisions, he's put himself in a situation where he has to lie to multiple people, get along with someone he can't stand, and commit fraud to pay down his debt. Luke goes to Cassie's place to pick her up for their sham wedding, and she comes out wearing jorts and a tank top. He tells her to change, she puts on a white dress, and Frankie meets them at the courthouse. Because Luke didn't think this plan through, he forgot to buy rings, but thankfully Frankie saves the day. The vow recital is extremely awkward, and because they can't afford to fake a honeymoon, they celebrate by attending Luke's platoon's send-off dinner. Frankie's girlfriend gets emotional about them shipping out to Iraq, and Cassie pretends to empathize, knowing she couldn't care less if Luke makes it back or not. Armando the bigot can't help himself from being deplorable.
This one is to life, love, and hunting down some goddamn Arabs, baby!
Cassie somehow manages to keep quiet, but he starts ish with her anyway. They of course end up arguing, and Armando tells Luke to get Cassie under control.
That bitch needs to be put on mute.
Luke bangs on the table in frustration and storms off. Frankie signals to Cassie to check up on him, and he starts defending Armando because they're all going through a lot.
Did I suspect anything less from this bitch?
They start arguing again because they don't seem to be able to communicate any other way, and everybody can see them. Luke and Cassie hold each other so that everyone will think they made up and are very much in love. I know this is supposed to be a romantic scene, but it really fails at accomplishing that. They get to the motel the platoon is staying at, and the room only has one bed. Luke admits that between their marriage and getting deployed, he's kind of losing it, and Cassie gives him a pity F.
I don't know, she's just not normal. Something in the buttermilk ain't clean.
Luke wakes up before Cassie, stressed and in a bad mood.
So you're that guy. Pretend it didn't happen, guy.
I don't know what you want from me.
They go to base, and Luke tells Cassie if anything happens to him to contact his brother and make sure his dad doesn't find anything out. Spoiler alert, something happens and his dad finds out. They kiss goodbye, but the person she actually cares about leaving is Frankie. Cassie begins her Republican transformation by hanging an American flag off her balcony, and we get a long compilation of them sending each other letters over tons of expository voiceovers. Cassie gets on a video call with Luke to sing a song she wrote that's dedicated to
All you American heroes.
What? Child. Anyway, so.
Not that long ago, she was vehemently against any sort of military activity, but now she's switching up because she has a crush on Luke.
But what about the public shame?
Even though the song wasn't that good, everyone claps and Cassie starts feeling herself enough to create a demo and post it. She manages to land a gig at a local concert, and she and Luke seem to be getting along more, probably because they don't have to be in the same room as each other. Cassie's Republican transformation goes over the 3/4 mark at her set.
To all the brave men and women who are serving our country on the other side of the world.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
The song blows up on Spotify, and Luke literally gets blown up. Cass gets the phone call about what happened, and she screws up by going to Luke's father instead of his brother and tells him what happened. Luke survives, but he's in rough shape. Cassie visits him in the hospital and brings his father with her. Luke freaks out because he thinks his father is going to turn them into the military police, so he says they're going to have to live together and start acting like a married couple until he completes physical therapy. Then things go from bad to worse.
Is Rinky gonna laugh or cry when he finds out about this?
The same mission as this. He didn't make it, Cassie.
No.
They attend his funeral and eventually Luke gets charged from the hospital and things immediately become awkward and tense.
Well, I'm sorry that my injury is inconveniencing you. It must be so hard for you.
Don't put this on me.
Even though the situation is less than ideal, Luke is at least able to be cooperative. Luke's dealer calls him and threatens him because Luke stopped paying, which I don't understand why he would. He should still be getting full pay even if he's temporarily inactive. Cassie gets Luke a dog named Peaches because she read that they can be good emotional support for guys like him, and he gets upset.
Guys like me? What, like a cripple? I don't need your pity.
Nothing good is gonna come from being too proud to accept others' kindness or help. Cassie comes home from a breakfast run to 2 surprises. The doorknob's been fixed and Luke is able to walk again.
Did you fix the doorknob?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, I guess.
They have breakfast on the balcony, and if it wasn't clear already, these characters have no chemistry. Nick and Sophia's chemistry isn't anything special either. Cassie and Luke don't even have enough in common to be friends, so I'm not sure why they wanted to make this story a romance at all. They include a weird scene where Cassie helps Luke bathe because it's too difficult for him to do on his own. This makes no sense. How has he been bathing for the past couple of weeks? Cassie lets Luke sleep in her bed, and this is the first time he shows feelings for Cassie beyond just physical attraction. We're almost an hour and a half into the movie, by the way. They attend a family barbecue and Luke plays with his nephew. He seems to be really good around kids, which would be a green flag if I didn't hate children.
Are you all thinking about having kids?
No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Cassie sings some more because showcasing Sophia Carson's vocals was more important than writing a good script. And her mom's house gets burglarized. Luke and Cassie drive over, and he goes inside by himself because the police are clearly in no rush. Luke's dealer calls while he's inside the house to let him know that he's the one who did it because Luke stopped paying.
Shut up! That is so stupid!
Cassie nearly faints again because she hasn't eaten anything for a while, and Luke takes care of her. Just like with 50 Shades of Grey, when you can't think of a good way to end a scene, half the characters make out. The next day, Luke gets up early to meet his dealer and...
If you mess with that woman again, look at my wife, I will kill you.
They end up tussling on the ground. Luke gets kicked in the leg, he busts his dealer's lip. Luke pays him everything he owes and takes his gun only to throw it in the trash immediately. Even though this is satisfying to watch, it was a dumb move. Luke should have just given him the money and left, or not stopped paying him in the first place. He comes home and Cassie is pissed off. Luke's dealer got petty and ran over to Cassie's mom's house to snitch on him. This of course causes another fight. Luke admits to his past with addiction and admits to using substances to cope with his mother's death. This started a downward spiral.
I stole a $50,000 car from my dad. Took it on the freeway and I told him. Not every man you let into your life is a bad guy that you can't trust.
She can't trust you. Not your past or who you are at present. I understand why he wasn't forthcoming with Cassie about why he needed the money, but in doing so, he brought a criminal into Cassie's life and her mother's home. Like I said earlier, just because it's in the past doesn't mean it didn't happen, and being around someone who stole a vehicle from their father would have me constantly looking behind my back. Cassie says she wants a divorce and kicks Luke to the curb. I guess her singing gigs are making enough money that she can do that now. Cassie unfortunately starts singing again. With the amount of time she does, you'd think Purple Hearts is a musical. Luke's commander shows up unannounced to escort him back to base camp because his dealer ratted him out.
You are
troublemaker, and you're a bitch!
Luke's dad calls Cassie to let him know he's been charged with fraud, and she shows up at his military trial to support him. Since she's a civilian, her case is being referred to state authorities instead. Luke's legal officer tells him not to say anything because they have a good chance of winning since the only evidence they have is that snitch's testimony. But Luke decides to be a martyr.
I coerced Miss Salazar into marrying me. I bear full responsibility, and I am prepared to face the consequences of my actions.
Oh, really? That's nice.
No one is impressed by this. Luke gets sentenced to 6 months and he has to start serving his term the next day. Cassie sings about Luke for thankfully the last time in this movie and ignores the fans at her concert so she can say goodbye to him. Cassie apparently feels like their sham wedding vows meant something and says she wants to wait for him until he gets out.
And I want to sleep on the floor with you.
They say I love you and we get an epilogue of them living their best life together with Peaches. Although her confession doesn't come out of nowhere, it feels really unearned. Nothing this movie has shown us makes me think that these two will last more than a few years. In total, Luke had 5 green flags, 1 yellow flag, 2 red flags, and 5 red parades. The 6 tiers I use go from A to F. A for husband material, B for boyfriend material, C for potential hookup, D for a waste of time, E for ain't shit, and F for literally evil. A, B, and C are for when a character's positives outweigh their negatives. D, E, and F are for the inverse. The numbers are pretty damning, but I'm gonna say Luke ain't shit. And at the very bottom of that tier. The only reason I didn't put him in literally evil with Christian, and go watch that video if you haven't already, is because I don't think Luke's a toxic person. He would be a shitty partner, but as an individual, I don't see him deliberately trying to harm someone, apart from his ex-dealer. Would I recommend this movie? Probably not. It's not as terrible as some people say, but it's not good either. It's a bad attempt at enemies to lovers, and a bad attempt at creating a deep social commentary. Having Cassie switch up her beliefs for a man, but there are still things we can take away from it. Getting into a relationship with serious baggage and unsolved problems is a recipe for disaster. Most of Luke's red flags and parades have to do with issues stemming from his past. Cassie gets roped into them by default, and they become serious problems for her as well. This happens to most real-life couples to a certain extent, but because Luke wasn't upfront, Cassie and her mother got put in a dangerous situation. The same thing can happen to you, putting your financial, emotional, and physical well-being at risk. So if your partner is secretive about their past and isn't willing to open up about it, run. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. It means a lot to me that you did. If you'd like to see more from me or show your support, please like and subscribe. And remember, keep your standards high.